Hi, Gary. I wanted to start off by saying that your discussion posts for this class have been really insightful, and they've definitely added an extra layer of introspection for those of us reading and responding to them. That being said, I think that this week's post was really interesting in that you highlighted ideological critique and the notion that politics affects every aspect of our lives. I really think that your idea for applying this method, in that you would really choose to study the political inferences of a word or a phrase before giving it your buy-in, is something that could be scaled up, not just to organizations, but really American society as a whole. Because I think that far too often people tend to give credence to the political value of a word or a phrase while completely ignoring the historical and contextual framework of that word or phrase. I think that sort of piggybacks on your discussion post last week, because you were talking about how you didn't really feel that the author of the article's use of the word intersectionality aligned with the way that the person who coined the term intended it for it to be used. And I think that if we truly study the historical framework and context of words and phrases, we could possibly avoid some of the figurative wars that we get into. I think not just of the word that you use, but also of like the term critical race theory. I think that it's such a buzzword, a hot buzzword in this country, that we tend to, quickly either jump to one side or the other, completely ignoring, the context of the word or the phrase. If you just look at the amount of times it's used out in the political world, and again, like you mentioned, politics affects every aspect of our lives. So if we look at how many times the phrase is used and how many times you see journalists asking the question of politicians, of political pundits, and even of everyday Americans, and a lot of people don't really know the definition, couldn't tell you what the phrase means, but they've already either given it their buy-in or their staunch rejection based on which politician has used the phrase. And so I definitely think that your idea for applying this method is something that might possibly be helpful to the whole of the population. Anyways, thanks again for your insightful posts.